Greetings. Welcome to another segment of Keep the Beat with Pete. And today we want to talk about some really key bass drum exercises. Again, we like to do a lot of fundamentals that you then build upon, okay? So a lot of times in these segments, you won't see super elaborate stuff, at least not as the bedrock of the clip, okay? We'll get right into it. So these bass drum exercises that I'm going to show you, you've probably practiced in some ways, maybe not. But I'm asking you to look at them a different way. I'm going to put my headphones off because I will use a metronome in this instance for some of these things. And what I want to do is talk about some basics, okay? So, quarter note bass drum, okay. So let's say you're in a regular standard rock or funk or pop music, you know, 1 and 2 and 3. So you have bass drum, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so you have your quarter notes. How about eighth notes, like groupings, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And then 16th notes, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and okay, so now what we're going to do is, as we often do, is, and music, because music calls for it, not just because it's fun or because it's some cool thing, is rotate these things. Where do you place them? Well, wherever you need to. 1 and 2 and 1. Okay, and then the 16th note, the eighth note triplet we can also work on. 1, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1. And so forth. You know, if you work on it real slow, you wind up with good times, bad times, and you just build it up. Okay, that's for you rock players, but how else do you use this? Your triplet, 1, or your 16th note. All this jazz and this fills. I mean, you know. Parts of the triplet, parts of the 16th note, the 2 16th notes, sequential. So we had a whole segment on the shuffle, the bass drum shuffle. What's a good tempo? I'd say 70 or 75, just to start yourself off. This happens to be 75. Now, jazz, 1. going up. So you gathered I might have been fiddling around there with Ted Reed's book, just using your foot, you know, because you have all those. There's so many. I don't want to get into all of them, but there's I've seen online. I don't want to say 101 ways, but let's say like 88 ways to use Ted Reed's syncopation book, and it's the classic book. But I like the original way because he said if you read the introduction, he was helping his students come in and really learn how to read what they were seeing in a lot of those jazz swing charts right off the reel. And instead of writing it out every night, he was writing them out. He finally decided to put it in a book. So he kind of did the empirical method. This is what's happening out in the world. I keep getting these requests to do this. So now let me lay this all out there. That's what you see in Ted Reed's syncopation book, particularly those exercises that are famous 1 through 8, page 39 or something, through 45 or 6. People use them all different ways. Well, one of the ways you could do it is just your bass drum. Whatever you see there. 2, with the jazz thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's just try to quickly package this and sum it up. I would start doing it in the pop mode, but you could also do it in the jazz mode if you're really having to do a lot of jazz stuff. Get your quarter notes, then your eighth notes, then your 16th notes, then your eighth note triplets, and you could even do 16th note triplets, you know, you a la John Bonham and all. So you have your middle of the triplet. And any part of the triplet, any part of the 16th note, quarter notes, eighth notes, and placement. Placement is the key thing because music is all about placement, patterns, accents, placement. And the reason that Ted Reed book becomes so valuable here is, as does Chapin's book too, you know, Syncopation for the Modern Drummer, and I might add Rick Latham's book on funk studies, is all three of those books are what I call part of the empirical approach versus sometimes what I do, which is like a priori structured, like I'm going to lay out this logic and you just play it. Their books are all like, hey, if you listen to Rick Latham talk on the 25th anniversary of the book, he was in North Texas State School and college, and then playing a lot of jazz and swing. But then all of a sudden, he was hearing all this funk and sounds, and he's transcribing beats. And at the end of certain classes, he used to bring them in each week, and then the classmates liked it. And then he started thinking about gathering this all up, and he tested it out and sent it to people. They said, yeah, you should make a book out of this. So what was that? It's a book about what was really going on. Well, so is Syncopation for the Modern Drummer, Jim Chapin. You play those exercises and you'll say, wow, that sounds like that was taken from, you know, Now's the Time or some other swing tune, you know, Scrapple from the Apple. Well, it probably was. He was getting those left-hand patterns and kept the steady cymbal pattern. Well, Ted Reed says in his book, I was writing out exercises. Guys were coming in saying, I want to learn how to read this real fast, and here's the pattern, and he was writing things out for them, and he just decided to make, you know, the book. So all three of those things, you're going to start hearing a lot of music in those patterns when you play them. They're not just patterns. They're not random. So I say that one's a good one. But let's do it. You got your basics, you learn how to build them and then place them. You could create your own patterns, rotate them around in a pop, rock, funk setting type, straight up, or a standard jazz. For right now, I'm not talking about varied cymbal patterns. We have other clips that we do on the different cymbal patterns. In fact, and then later this month or next month, I'll be going back to that, adding some of the cymbal patterns. We had a video on funk fusion cymbal patterns, and we used the and we used the 1 and the 2 and the 3. Well, there's other patterns. We could get into all that. Right now, it's bass drum. The last thing I would say is how you're going to play these beats. Pete, you know, your hand, heel up, your heel down. Yeah. However, it makes sense for you and what you're comfortable doing. There was another whole segment I did, 2 segments on. Maybe I should put some links in the bottom of this on, you know, educating the left foot and then bass drum patterns. And you'll notice that players, a lot of guys like to play heel down, and they have a lot of control for what they do, and they do it really well. To get a lot of volume, to get certain other things going, people use heel up. And then there's heel toe, toe heel. And I even shot some video showing those angles and stuff like that a while ago. That's not what this is. This is basically just these patterns. One of my favorites is the one that was in Smiling Face. And so forth and so on. So anyway, there you have it. Short and sweet. It's really important, I think, to get these bass drum ideas clear in your mind, and then you drop them in wherever you need them. And then some people take this to a very advanced level with a lot of bass drum notes running at the same time. That's cool. You won't hear it in a lot of songs, but you'll hear it in a lot of demonstrations, and sometimes people when they're jamming and really, you know, free floating there, they could really run their right foot to some extraordinary levels. That's great. What I'm talking about is more of a musical thing. You can use this in all different settings once you have it down, and you can place these notes, the 16th particularly, in the triple, you know, groupings, any way you want them. Okay? So for those new subscribers, thanks for joining us. Welcome aboard. And for those that have been watching for a while, thanks for watching. Remember, we're trying to help you, you know, either mechanics or vocabulary, create the beat you keep. I would say this lesson is more like, this particular segment's more like a vocabulary thing, just thinking about what you want to say. And other segments we talk about how you want to play these things, you know, what body mechanics, okay? Thanks for watching. Remember, keep the beat with Pete. Peace out.